Think about
don't
Adam,
have the kids.
Half of African Americans in the state of California, roughly half of Latino families, have no access to a checking account or an ATM. Things we take for granted. They don't have a check.
What's wrong with them?
And well, because they don't have the resources to sock those things away.
Well, why do we have them?
A lot of different reasons, but roughly half those families don't. And where do they
why
end
do
up?
Armenians have them?
But where they end up is in check cashing places.
But I want to know why those groups. Why
advantage.
those two groups don't have access?
Well, a lot of. Just happens to be that we can
so
talk
they're
about.
Flawed?
No, they're hardly flawed, but they're struggling.
Genetically
Folks are making
flawed.
their word. Hardly, not absolutely.
But okay,
not.
Do Asians have this problem?
I mean, a lot of communities have. A lot of whites have these problems.
Oh,
but
so that's not just black and Hispanic.
No, but
why did you bring up black and Hispanic?
Because the magnitude is ominous.
But why so many of them?
It just happens to be the magnitude.
That's the way God planned it?
Not at all.
Well, what happened to them?
There are a lot of issues, and that the communities are struggling. A lot
why
of new
are they
immigrants.
Struggling?
A lot of different reasons. Lack of opportunity.
Have been here. Blacks have been here longer than we've been here.
Well, we can surmise.
What about Asians? They were put in internment camps.
Yeah, in fact, it all initiated out of San Francisco. And
all right.
The Chinese Exclusion Act came out.
So
Are they the
San Francisco? Are they the check cashing
places? A lot of Asians certainly do.
Oh, so why don't you conclude them?
The only reason why is the magnitude.
Oh,
okay.
Gavin, hey, pleasure to meet you. I just wanted to ask you, is there any time we can get you back on the Adam Carolla show anytime soon?
Geez, remember that? Man, he got cranky near the end there that last time we were on.
No? Maybe sometime before the election?
I doubt it.
No?
He's got to apologize to the Latino community before I do that.
All right.
Yeah,
10 years later.
Adam Carolla here. Governor, why did you shut the beaches in California during COVID?
Yeah, I think we all were working on information at the time. We had no basis of deeply understanding the virus. I think they did the same thing.
So you didn't know
I know they
anything,
did the
so
same
why'd
thing
you shut the
in
beaches?
states like Florida.
If you didn't know anything, why'd you shut the beaches?
Well, we didn't know.
Wow. Oh, I could watch that all day. I don't even need this show. I could just watch. There should be just a show, Carolla and the Governor.
I cut it off too. I mean, there's a
no. It could go for
more.
days. I mean, how entertaining is that?
Gavin's silence, though, it's like, oh shit, it's this guy again.
He does another thing too, Gavin, where he smiles like he's posing for a picture, and then underneath the smile, he says outrageous things about the person. You know, he smiles. Yeah, like I'm ever going to meet with that son of a bitch again. He's got this great ability. He does it all the time, where he just smiles for photo ops while denouncing like Adam Carolla or someone.
Oh yeah. Anyway, wow. I had to share that. It's a longer clip, but I was shocked to find out that he came back and Chris Cuomo put Carolla with him on News Nation. So
I didn't know that. Is that what that's from?
That's what this latest one is
from.
So
My God. Was it a sandbag sneak attack?
It might have been, because that's why I found that other clip where Gavin's like, no. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's back. But it's a bit of a longer segment.
To keep on giving it. I mean, the Carolla Newsom thing, I think in the first one he was lieutenant governor at the time, or
correct.
Mayor,
yeah, he was lieutenant governor.
Right.
Running for governor at the time.
Running for governor. Yeah. Now he's trying to run out of governor and run into Michigan and surrogate battleground states on behalf of his big pappy, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It looks like it, right?
It looks like it. I do hope, though, that he gets more Carollas out there, because that was kryptonite to him. He could just tell he could not stand that.
Well, I mean, having a sit-down Q&A in the guy's studio, there's nowhere. He very rarely ends up in that cemented position. It's more like run and gun outdoors.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's very rarely locked in. He actually needed that back then.
Oh, the News Nation too, though. He kind of got caught there. So
yeah, he got caught. He got caught because he's doing whirlwind tours, because he's not even thinking about becoming president. People just believe he just runs around the country, New Hampshire, Michigan.
He's a hero.
And he's been doing this for over a year. People don't realize it because they're busy with their own lives, rightfully so. But he's been campaigning for himself. He's not campaigning. He says he's campaigning for Biden, but it's to replace Biden, for Christ's sakes.
Of course it is.
By the way, he shares a PR company with, it's not his company, I'm saying he has a PR firm that represents both him and who represents a former client from the past. The former client is Kamala Harris. So the current client, apparently, from what I understand internally here in California, has access to all the dirt that the firm had on Kamala Harris. And that will be released over the next week by surrogates of Newsom in a last-minute attempt to cut her throat, to quote a phrase from the person who told me that, a pundit here in California. So you will be seeing through surrogates, not the same stuff that has been out there about her and Willie Brown for decades. This is stuff that has been in the vault. That's a PR. Well, it's not fresh, but it's fresh to us, right? It's been in the vault of the PR firm since she moved to the vice presidential situation a couple 3.5 years ago.
Very interesting.
And now Newsom has access to it as the client. They were both clients at the same time, but now he's the only paying client of the two. So apparently this particular firm has a history of undermining previous clients. Let me put it that way.
Well, hey, that's a good method to keep payment in perpetuity. It's like, well, you know what? You just keep paying us till the end of time, because when the
guy who told me that said it's similar to Scientology, having a file on you from your e-meter readings and keeping you a paying cousin. He compared it to Scientology, which is kind of funny.
Good comparison.
Yeah. To keep you in the fold, Scientology has, all your e-meter readings.
Wow. Well, and it's very effective, and they learned that from North Korea. So, wow. Anyway, well, good news. Biden says he is in the race.
Okay, you got to run this. Come on.
Oh, I'm going to run. Hold on. First,
bring it home, Hunley. Bring it home.
I got to lead up to it because first
all right.
He tweeted this out,
right?
And he said, "Let me say this as clearly as I can. I am the sitting president of the United States. I am the nominee. I'm staying in this race." That was 3:37 p.m. So 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago. So, but don't worry, he is out there forcefully.
Do you
campaigning?
You do have the video? Okay, great.
Hold on.
Well, let me say this as clear as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020. Well, guess what? They're trying to push me out of the race.
I want to hear it again.
Well, let me say this as clear as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
He's doing great.
This is like out of a National Lampoon movie. I mean, I just can't get enough of this now.
Oh, yeah. And he also, if I recall, said, what was it? He's the first black vice president.
Who's a woman.
It was like kind of rolling it all together.
Yeah, he rolled it. I was the first black woman vice president.
I'm sorry. Yes,
woman vice president. Let's be clear of the unclarity.
Sorry.
Be clear about the unclear statement.
That's
well, someone in the White House has a job of reconfiguring all his gaffes into normal English and putting it out as historical statements by the president of the United States. That's more terrifying than anything. The fact that in the future, kids are going to read this crystal clear of words he never said.
Yeah. It makes you wonder about the past too,
Yeah, that's a good point. But I'll tell you this statement today by him. Okay, here's where we are. And this is July 5th, 2024, right? This is where we are. He is now, this is just my take on the whole thing. He is now thrown down the gauntlet. He's not leaving. Okay, that's obvious. Now the Democrats have to not only go to the nuclear option, multiple nuclear options. They are now going to have to do it at lightning speed, because the longer they have him saying this, the worse it gets for them. If you're going to go this route, which they apparently are. So they now have to turn up, and we predicted this over a year ago, that this was going to happen, that they would go after the kid, to try to get rid of him. The kid thing didn't work. They're going after him. He's declared, I'm not going anywhere. And now it's time to go nuclear, which is what they're going to do over the next few days and weeks until he cries uncle and gets out. This is going to be the most fascinating week or two in American political history. I've never lived through anything like this. This is better than Watergate. I hate to say it, but this is better than Watergate. This is better than the Democratic Convention in '68. This thing is a battle to the death right now. He has thrown down the gauntlet. So what are you going to see, Eric? You're going to see impeachment is going to be back on the table because guys are going to say, I'm willing to vote for impeachment. That's the weaponization. Here's the Republicans who can't get out of their own fat ass way. Now the Democrats are going to signal that they're willing to vote for conviction in the Senate. That's what you're going to hear. You're going to see it. You're going to get numbers. You're going to get votes publicly, leaked like a canary in a coal mine and trial balloons to get him out. But they don't have the luxury, Eric, to meander about and do what normally would be done, which would be putting editorials in the paper. They've done that. He's gone. Atlantic Journal-Constitution, New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, want him out. That's gone. He said, F you, I'm not doing it. Okay. Now they have the two options. They're going to go to the 25th Amendment or impeachment. Those are the two left on the table in our political system. So when you go to the impeachment one, they're going to have to make friends with certain Republicans who may not want to impeach now. It may be completely reversed, Hunley, in one of the strangest square planet, bizarro comics, DC world, Superman episodes of all time.
Yeah, you have more Democrats voting for it than Republicans.
Right. And because I'll tell you why. The Republicans are going to try to extract stuff from these mutts to vote to impeach their own president. This has gone crazy off the rails. Predicting that's going to happen. Number two, let's get into the 25th Amendment. I promised people on Twitter today that we would get into the 25th Amendment. It's very confusing. It's very convoluted. So I'm going to read it. Section 4 is the important section. The other sections we already know, death of a president, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's pretty set in stone. But section 4 is where it gets convoluted. And I'll read it out loud and you can convolute yourself. And if we get any presidential lawyers someday, maybe they can explain it to us. Number 4, section 4, this is the 25th Amendment of the Constitution, I think passed in 1965. Whenever the vice president and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body of Congress, Eric, may by law provide, transmit to the president pro temp of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the president is unable to discharge the duties, powers and duties of the office, the vice president shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office of as acting president. Let me repeat that because it's really confusing to the United States of America. Whenever the vice president and a majority of either the principal officers of the no, that's your interpretation.
The weird one is that Congress thing. That right, Congress part's weird.
Let me just finish the whole thing and then we could discuss it. Right. It's very confusing. Whenever the vice president and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body from another planet, as Congress may by law provide, Eric, transmit to the president pro temp of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the president of the United States is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall immediately assume powers and duties of the office as acting president. Okay.
That's what confused me is the Congress part. I mean, I've always heard, it was literally the cabinet and the vice president, and that was to protect whoever was in power because it had to be their own people saying, hey, look, they can't do the job. But that's a lot of other wiggle room that was put into that 25th Amendment.
That's right, brother.
Except you need the VP. I guess that's it. You have to have the VP according to what you just read.
Absolutely. But let me finish. Let me go to the fifth, because the fifth negates the fourth. Here's the fifth. Thereafter, when the president transmits to the president pro temp of the Senate and Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that no inability exists, he counters with a letter A week later, he shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the vice president and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive department or of such other body as Congress may provide by law transmit Hunley within 4 days to the president pro tem of the Senate and the Speaker of the House their written declaration the president is unable to discharge the duties and powers of his office. Thereupon, Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours for that purpose, if not in session. If the Congress within 21 days after receipt of the latter written declaration, this is by the president, or if the Congress is not in session within 21 days after Congress is required to assemble, determines by 2/3 vote of the House that the president is unable to discharge the duties and powers of his office, the vice president shall continue to discharge the same as acting president, Eric. Otherwise, the president shall resume the powers and duties of his goddamn office. So he writes a letter saying, screw you, there's nothing wrong with me. If this Section 4 gets enabled, he writes a letter saying, screw you. I'm totally fine. I'm hanging in there. My wife is running everything. You don't know what's going on. They then have literally 4 days to respond and then 21 days to counter this. And literally, it's like a veto override, Eric, is what I'm getting out of this. What's your take?
Well, my take, even before you read all that, was impeachment's the best move.
Thank you. That's where I was going. That's why I did.
It is just the one, they can blame it on the Republicans and say, look, there's just not enough support. We can't help it. Well, I'm so sorry. Well, we really wanted to do it for Joe, but what are you going to do? The Republicans, them bad Republicans. And the funny part is that the MAGA people are going to say, oh, no, we're not going to vote to impeach him.
Of course, that's what I just said.
I know, exactly. But specifically the MAGA people. But they're
going to work on the others going, dude, you wouldn't do it before. Stay the course. Don't do it now. You know, the guy's on the ropes. He's punch drunk.
It's upside down world.
It's bizarro comics, DC Comics. Look it up. Square Planets. Superman who spoke backwards. It's one of the favorite comic spinoffs on DC Superman. Bizarro
okay, but
world.
I have to interrupt this broadcast, Mark, because the chat and Dick Dickerson and 556 Pew Pew are in a war.
Whoa.
They are in a war. And I mean, this is mind-boggling.
Whoa.
Dick Dickerson came in hot with 20 America's Untold Stories memberships. That's like
that's a good way to open, Dickerson. Good way to open.
It's a good way to open, absolutely. But 556 Pew Pew came back with 20 memberships of his own.
Oh, celebrity death battle. Holy crap.
No, but it continues, Mark.
What?
Dickerson comes back with it and gave 20 more memberships.
Additional 20 by Dickerson?
Yes, we're at 60 now.
He's going into the YouTube Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, and followed up with another super chat saying, I'm the membership sheriff around here, and don't you forget
There's a new sheriff in town. Dickerson remains the new sheriff in town. Oh, my Lord.
But Pew Pew came back with 20 more.
He can't be stopped. He can't be stopped. He's a runaway train. I mean, he's just great. He's going crazy, Pew Pew.
Okay, so now we're at 80 memberships in this show already. Unbelievable. You're killing me. It's unbelievable. But Dick Dickerson is not taking this line down and
Has
came
he responded?
Back 50 memberships.
God. Oh, Jesus.
Wow, you guys.
Wow.
So
the competitive vigor between these two is unending, because Dickerson said no mothers, and then he got insulted, and now it's back to Dickerson, bang, bang. Okay.
Right. You are pulling that trigger, Dickerson.
Dickerson gone. Speaking of triggers, I think there's a trial that starts in a couple of days down in Santa Fe, Hunley.
Yep, I believe it starts jury selection on the 9th.
Look, I don't have to. It's just too much news. I can't go on anymore. I've got a 24/7 command post here. I don't sleep. I stay on some sort of IV medication that keeps me up watching the news monitors 24/7. This is just too much. Well, let's get back to impeachment for a second, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I do want to beat a dead Biden. The fact that this guy, Trump offered another debate now, this Texas cage match.
No holds barred.
No holds barred Texas cage match, no moderators, in a parking lot, out Walmart. in Arizona to the death, 107-degree heat. They will go at it, according to Trump. Is he wrong for going back into the arena, Eric? Or should he let sleeping dogs just die?
I didn't think he should have debated him the first time.
Right.
And I think
we never would have learned what we learned. So
that's my point. So how can I sit there and say, "Oh, you're crazy, Trump"? It's like,
right.
He was kind of right before. So
yeah. Crazy like a fox.
Yeah. I mean, that one, it's like, what's his downside? I mean, Biden holds up. I don't know. I've never seen in my entire life an incumbent's own party all over the place, literally saying, get out.
Look, I remember,
I've never seen that.
Lowell Weicker, who was a big Republican maca, was Nixon's worst enemy. These Republicans who turned on Nixon, it reminds me of today. And as I study more about Watergate, Baker, obviously out of the South. I mean, there were a lot of Fred Thompson, and there were a lot of Republicans who were his worst enemy during Watergate. So it's not unheard of, but it's kind of like
not my living memory. I was
right.
Absolutely.
I'll just tell you this thing. I'll get into some other things, but by the way, one of my followers who I just was DMing with is James Rosen, who is the great White House correspondent that you've been seeing recently. What's that?
Isn't he at Fox, or was it Fox, right?
No, right now he's at Newsmax, and he famously asked Biden about his cognitive problems. And Rosen is now the chief White House correspondent, but he's written the great book on John Mitchell, which I told him I'm reading, and he's writing a new book on Scalia and said he'll come on the show as soon as it's done. So
sweet.
Oh, look at Hunley. Hunley's having a meltdown. No, he's a big Dylan fan, a big Beatles fan, and it'd be great to have him on. So I told him we're going to do a John Mitchell episode, and his book is one I'm reading right now. So anyway, getting back to the situation resembling Watergate, these Democrats are now going to have to move at lightning speed because there's no point in dragging this out. They created this window for themselves on purpose that the convention's August 17th, whenever it is. Mm-hmm. They had this debate up front on purpose to see what they could see on purpose. Mm-hmm. Now they've seen what they thought that they were revealing. It wasn't a question of them looking. They knew this. This was a reveal to the American public of the left that this is who we've been hiding for 3.5 years. Okay, now the people on the left are stunned. Now the newspapers go into mechanics of saying you have to remove Biden. Okay, that happened. Now you've got talking heads on TV saying he's got to go. Okay, that happened. Now you've got the governors meeting saying we're going to back you, except the governors who are running against him who weren't at the convention on the phone, which is Whitmer and Newsom, the only two governors, Democratic governors who weren't involved in this confab. So they were out. Now you've got the Black Caucus with Clyburn out of South Carolina and Donna Brazile clamoring racism already because they woke up in the morning and had breakfast, claiming if you step over our Kamala Harris, this is going to be our plant. This is a racist move. Okay. So now Newsom is going to have to counterattack. And that's why I was saying to you before the show, or even earlier, that he has this PR firm with the dirt in it that's going to be launched against Kamala Harris, which is what he was waiting for. He did not see this coming, Newsom. He's also got Biden's blessings when and if Biden gets his throat cut. So there's obviously a factional fight right now is what I was going with this thing. Who supports who behind them is a little convoluted. The black thing, you could see pretty clearly that the Black Caucus and these cats are going to support, obviously, an Indian woman from India who was raised in Canada to be the president of the United States. That makes perfect sense. Her own father, who's from Jamaica, a separate nation state off the coast in the Caribbean, said that she should be quiet about her promotion of cannabis, as it is a huge problem and has led to many, many problems on the island of Jamaica, where he is from. So you've got a Jamaican Indian woman this time trying to pass as a black woman to call Trump a racist and defeat him at the polls so she could be the next Obama who was born in some other foreign country and had other foreign problems. I mean, the chances of these things happening, the odds are like 1 trillion to 1, just about their backgrounds. Because
I just wanted for first kid.
Okay, so this is the kid of Kamala Harris. I'll just get into the weeds, people. I just want to get into the weeds about this because Kamala Harris is anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, and pro-Palestinian. Her husband is a Jew, Jew, Jew. And this is going to be very awkward when you have a white Jewish husband who supports Judaism and the state of Israel. She does not. She is pro-Hamas. She's pro-Arafat.
Looking at that picture,
makes
me want to say, what are her pronouns? Okay, when I look at that picture, that's screaming weirdo.
She's so out there. She doesn't have pronouns on me. Okay.
Okay.
Is that an answer for you?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
There's no pronouns. To have pronouns is considered to be bigoted because you shouldn't have to have pronouns in my futuristic pronoun-free society of my utopian world. Okay, so that court jester is the offspring who'll be running around the White House. That would be the new Hunter Biden, in case anybody's wondering for the new upcoming movie.
Who, by the way, is at his father's side. Every decision, and not like, oh, you can't drop out, man. You're going to leave me hanging here. You can't drop out, man. You're going to leave me hanging. Well,
as I said about 10 episodes ago, that they had to extract from Kamala Harris. If his father dropped dead, God forbid, tomorrow, God forbid for us tomorrow, that she still would honor the pledge of pardoning him. Okay, and I think they extracted that. But he's now back in the White House attending all meetings with his father. He's a convicted felon, cocaine addict. The fact that he would have a national security clearance to do this, I think is bizarre. And I don't think he does. So I wonder as to what he's able to listen to in these high level, he's going to every meeting his father's having.
I don't know.
Without a national security clearance. Or if he does have a national security clearance, that would be mind-boggling. And if he doesn't, what is he doing in there? It's mind-boggling either way. It's mind-boggling either way. But getting back briefly to the 25th Amendment, just by reading that, you could see how convoluted it is, as Eric and I were describing.
Oh, for sure. I mean, in every way. And then we were talking about this briefly on Tuesday, but Carl Bernstein coming out.
Who?
The old Carl Bernstein. Biden had 15 to 20 episodes of cognitive decline in the last year, but yet he's out there railing about Trump. I mean, what the hell is going on with these people?
Well, I just find it fascinating that the two major talking heads in the past few days have been John Dean and Carl Bernstein on CNN and MSNBC. Two guys that are figure prominently in the series we're doing now, as we luckily predicted would happen. The comparisons to Russiagate and Watergate is what we're trying to make with the series, and it's kind of making its own sauce for us. This is just great. A lot of the documentaries that came out for the anniversary of Watergate 10 years ago are feature, and some are hosted by John Dean, a convicted felon. I mean, this stuff is just fantastic. It really is. We're going to get to the bottom of this goddamn thing.
We should invite him on too.
John Dean? Yeah. With James Rosen at the same time. A Rosen-Dean debate. That would be fascinating.
Oh, that would be classic. Definitely. Oh, my God. All right. So what else do we have here? Okay, wait. Biden's got his interview with Stephanopoulos coming up. Now, what's confusing is apparently it's pre-recorded. So I'm like, did it already happen?
No. This was designed to be pre-recorded, to be edited, to show him in a positive light. This is a deal that they cut with ABC News. By the way, I will be going to ABC News for 2020 next Wednesday to do an episode of 2020 on Stephanie Lazarus, the murderess who is featured in our episode on the art detective, Don Harisik for LAPD, that we did. Eric can put it in a link after the show, perhaps. The 2020 ABC News watches America's Untold Stories, and they saw the episode on Don Harisik, and Stephanie Lazarus was his heir apparent. and she was arrested by LAPD detectives moments after my interview with him when they got the DNA off of her Starbucks straw, which I will be discussing on 2020 for ABC News.
Wow.
Yeah, on Wednesday. I don't know if it airs Wednesday, but I'm taping it on Wednesday for ABC News. If Biden is there taping, I'm going to try to see if I can get an interview with him.
yeah, get right on that.
Right, because we may run into each other in the hall. Who the hell knows? But yeah, so keep your eyes open for 2020 ABC News. Anyway, this is a taping of a Stalin-esque, it may be 15 minutes long, I'm hearing, or short in terms of length. Because they're going to have to cut out all the space outs and all the delusional stuff. But it's clearly designed by someone at ABC News wants to resurrect the guy and has agreed to do this.
Jeez.
And it could be, Stephanopoulos and Clinton's people, saying we're siding with Biden on this thing and we're not going down. Because we don't know who's behind this. Is this... Barnes thinks that Hillary Clinton is coming in. I have seen no hint of that. Robert thinks that's where this is going, which may very well be true. I don't know. I'm sticking with my Newsom predictions, but he's going to the bank on Hillary Clinton.
Well, I could see Hillary wanting it, so it's hard to ever count out Hillary completely.
But I'm saying she may be in bed with the Clintons trying to prop this guy up to make him continue to stay as president for a while. I don't know. There's a lot of strange bedfellows here.
Oh, it is crazy. It is crazy. I've been thinking about that. You're talking about the black lobby, etc. With her.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, they're going to scream to death. But is the situation so bad with him that they'll just flat out say, you know what? Excuse my language. Fuck them. They'll have to just eat it. And what are you going to do? Vote for Trump?
Wait.
I'm wondering if there's a point of departure where they could just say, we don't care if you're pissed off that we get rid of Kamala. Are you going to go vote for Trump? Are you going to stay home?
So who are they saying this to? The blacks, you mean?
To blacks, yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think they're going to say that regardless. But according to black African-American pundits, it may be as high as 25 to 35% who are deserting Biden to go to Trump. I don't know if they're going to come back for Kamala Harris, but the base of the party, and I've said this for 2 years, and the base of the party, the Democratic Party, are black women. That's the base. And they have a 90%, I've seen as high as 93%, I've seen it as low as 88% approval rating for Kamala Harris. So when they show you the approval rating of Kamala Harris, a lot of times that includes Republicans or it includes male blacks, it includes the entire Democratic Party. That's not the base. That's not, nobody cares what Asian American Democrats think of Kamala Harris. The black base is black women, and she's got a 90% approval rating in that base. So she, in a lot of ways, is an untouchable, Eric.
Yeah,
but that being said, who knows? Maybe that she accepts the fact that Newsom comes in and becomes an all-California ticket, and he will, he'll take the torch and pass it to her later. I don't know.
I still like the Supreme Court idea of get Sotomayor out and just shove her over, and there you go.
It would take confirmation hearings. It would take too long. It's just too long. That's, you know what I mean? It's just, unless she, you know what I mean? It's like,
they're really behind the 8 ball, Mark, and it's fun to watch.
It's that's the greatest week of my life. Are you kidding me? I just wake up from a 5-minute micro sleep like Salvador Dali did with tin spoons in my hand and tin pans around, so I could just jump up when the spoon leaves my hand to just get more news. But there's more news out of California because July 1st, we have new laws on the books, Eric. Every July, most states it's January 1st, which we do have. We also have, because we can't stop making laws. They're addicted to making laws. They now have new laws that come out July 1st every year. And I forgot about this. And I thought I'd read you some of the new laws, just a couple of them that may be of interest to people across the country. One of them is the drug testing kits in bars. Every bar has to have a drug testing kit. And you go, well, that's good. I mean, because you don't want to drive home with drugs in you, right? Sorry. The bars and nightclubs will include drug testing kits, including strips, stickers, or straws, Eric, for sale. These kits can detect common date rape drugs such as rufinol, ketamine, also known as roofies, although ketamine is not known as roofies. Rufinol is known as roofies. The business must display a giant sign letting patrons know that the kits are available. The law applies to thousands and thousands of nightclubs and bars across the state that serve alcohol. So you have to have these kits to make sure that a guy is not date raping you with this drug, to test your own drinks all through the time that you're in the bar. It's really, it's insane.
I'm not completely against it, though. I mean, it's one of those, it's like having the availability of a test could maybe give a psychological thing of, oh shit, I could get caught at random because there's these kits around. So there is a part of me that's going, I hate wasteful things and, demands like that, but that one is a little harder for me to say is a shitty law,
Okay. Menstrual products is just in AB 230. The new law expands the existing requirements for public schools all the way down to kindergarten, 5th grade, to have menstrual products in all the bathrooms.
Oh, now that's what I love. There's a stupid one because they will say both the men's or boys' bathrooms as
right,
well
but
as
fourth grade. But fourth grade. Eric.
I know, which I mean, obviously, giant problem of that.
Here's the name of this bill: Keep Students in School, SB 274. It's illegal in California public schools to suspend any student, kindergarten to 12, for disrupting the class or defying teachers. A practice known as willful defiance suspensions. They can remove a student, but he can't ever be suspended from the school.
What?
Yeah, it's a pipeline to the penitentiary. That's what Obama said.
Oh yeah, school to prison pipeline. School to prison pipeline.
Right. So this is part of the way to stop the pipeline is to prevent any kid from being suspended from school.
Okay. Or just get them to stay in school, or get them to play. Never mind.
There is workplace violence, SB 553. The law requires employers to develop and implement workplace violence prevention plans, mandatory training, incident logging, procedures to respond to workplace violence. Companies must also adopt procedures for handling these reports and are prohibited from retaliating against employees who make such reports. And then,
who's paying for that one? That's for the businesses.
Yeah, of course.
To the business. Oh, you've got a business, Mark. Okay, so now in your business, you will do this.
Oh, that's nothing new. They just did this to the fast food lobby, saying it's $20 an hour, and they said, okay, we're going to another state. And they said, good, go to another state. But at least we got the law passed that it's $20 an hour to work at McDonald's. Okay, here's a good one.
Which doesn't exist.
Right. There's a gun tax on everything because we have, very high sales tax, but they added a gun tax, AB 28. A 11% state excise tax will be added to firearms and ammunitions sold in the state. Revenue estimated $160 million annually will fund school safety and violence prevention, which you'll never see a nickel of that money. There's also, they want to pay, there's a pilot program to pay drivers $600 or something to drive around to see if the mileage tax will work and how much it'll generate. The new mileage tax, which is anywhere from 2 to 4 cents per mile, Eric, for driving around California in your car that you own. So you'll now be driving a rental car without unlimited miles. In other words, your car is now going to be a rental car, but without unlimited miles.
Can we go back to the gun thing?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
This is something that I've noticed of late, and I've meant to bring it up with you, but because every time I travel to a meetup or what have you, I've been flying a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just me, or do they spend a lot of time in the airport saying, remember, you can't have a gun with you? Remember, you can't have a gun. And I'm like, why are they going on and on about guns at these airports? And they're literally saying that. I'm like, I kind of feel like they're doing that to psychologically implant in our brains that guns are everywhere.
When you get there, or
no, I think it's just to make us think that it's really a rampant problem. How many guns do you see being picked up at an airport?
Never. I mean, once in a while you hear a
especially there because
celebrity,
it's high security.
Some celebrity says their girlfriend packed it as some sort of revenge porn or something. You know, that's about the extent.
Had to be clever, but nasty.
Yeah,
but
apparently there's celebrities in the news all week now.
Yeah, but you know, I don't want to move away from California and the election because, you know, it's not only Biden that's, you know, having a rough week here, but Bobby has had a little bit of a hit going on him.
Oh boy, this is really getting ugly. This Vanity Fair piece. Well, they knew this was coming. I mean, this is mild compared to what would be coming if he was relevant. This piece must have been in the works, you know, for 6 months. So but here he is eating a dog,
but it's not. It's not a dog.
I didn't finish the sentence. I'm just saying, here he is eating a dog that he claims is a goat. And he says it's a goat. In the article, they say it's a dog. He's unhappy about the goat dog debate. He's now in their wheelhouse, which is why they said it was a dog. And he took the bait. And now he's going around saying, I'm eating a goat. And he says, I wouldn't eat a monkey or a dog. He added humans lately. Today he added humans.
What?
He added humans to his list of things he wouldn't eat.
Like that was actually a consideration?
No. I'm saying he's added it. He's added it.
I know, but I'm saying it's crazy. Okay.
It's not so crazy because look what happened to the soccer team in Argentina that went down in the mountains. They ate each other. He's declaring that he wouldn't do that.
Well, yeah. Okay. What? So if he went down, okay, but whatever. Why would you ever have to clarify that? Oh, by the way, I'm not going to.
I'm not done. I'm not done. He wouldn't eat dogs, monkeys. He then added humans and cats. As he added the cat law because the cat women went berserk because they assumed he didn't put cat on the list. He late last night, issued a release saying cats, he wouldn't eat cats, so they relaxed, the cat ladies. And now it's 4 things he won't eat: dogs, cats, monkeys, and humans. So we got the record straight. That's the list.
I'm glad it's cleared up. I'm glad.
But it's not cleared up completely because in the article, a woman said she was sexually assaulted by him. And
he didn't deny it.
He didn't deny it. And it was a non-denial because
he flat out didn't address it. He
didn't address it.
No comment, period.
Yeah, he wouldn't address it. And some people surmise that it might have been some legalese to not get what happened to Trump with Carol, that by denying it, you're slandering them, which is the essence of that entire case, was the denial that she was lying. He's a lawyer too. He may have lawyered up in his mind saying, I can't go the Trump route by saying whoever said that is a liar or whatever, you know what I mean? So he didn't deny or say he did do it or didn't do it.
Right. Well, it's sad. I mean, obviously the whole dog thing is bullshit. And they found a vet to say that. And it's very easily proven because they said the floating 13th rib means it's a dog. And you look up the definition of how you describe the goat and distinctive floating 13th rib.
Listen, Eric, I don't have a dog in this hunt. So maybe we could move on from this.
Well, okay, then we'll move on to something else. With
right. No, with him. I mean, he, go ahead. What do you have? Let's see.
Okay. Well, this one, this just cracked me up. This is him with a rattlesnake. But look at this. This is a show. It's a performance, Mark.
Right,
okay.
Right, I know.
Rattlesnake in the driveway. Hold on, guys. I'll be back in a flash.
Whoa.
It's small.
What's that? I've never seen anybody try to. I keep watching Naked and Afraid because there's a lot of snakes on Naked and Afraid, and they eat the snakes all the time. I've never seen anyone try to catch a snake with a butterfly net. And that's a new one for me.
Yep. He goes and he has variety, though. He's got the snake in there, and then he pulls it back out, and now he's got another device. And there is a certain point, it's like, why you keep messing with it, dude?
Yeah, that is weird.
And he gets Cheryl Hines to come up with a pillowcase.
Right.
And then he takes it out. I'm like, but this is such a goofy little show.
Wow. Well, he's involved with animals since he was a little kid. I mean, he famously had falcons as pets, and he had a zoo in his house. He had an entire zoo. After his father's death, he created a zoo in his house, and so he's used to being around these animals. To his credit, but this is
sure, and he did not harm it.
No. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
But
apparently oh my God, this is an entire theatrical production.
That's why that's the main thing is.
Oh my God.
And he's like, here's my direction.
Look at this. How does he blame Trump for this? I don't understand. This is how wealthy people spend their time in Malibu. They get involved in it because they don't have jobs. So they get involved in these different hijinks like this, where you're now taking a snake out in the woods. Who's got time for this? Who's got time for this? This guy is wasting our time. I'm saying to you right now, you're the best governor of California that California would have since Ronald Reagan. I strongly urge him to forget this crazy snake handling, dog eating, Vanity Fair world and get into the governor's race. Forget about this. This is going nowhere. They're putting on Twitter today, in the past week, all these different attempts to submit signatures that they've garnered that are not being accepted by the states now for legal reasons, to cock block him or whatever the reasons are. And it's all day, 24/7. We've got all these signatures. We've won. You've won. They keep celebrating that we're going to be on the ballot and fill in the blank state because we've got twice the amount of signatures. Dude, we're going to be pushing towards August already. And he's still futzing around with signatures in parking lots. I mean, it's crazy. Forget about this already. You're wasting valuable time. Switch over to the governorship of California, and you can be the king in your own castle there. You could run a massive mega state. I mean, if he really wants to govern, which I have my doubts. Now it's become apparent to even regular people that this is a campaign of ideas. And if it is, then bring on Jill Stein, bring on Cornel West, bring on all these other cats. I mean, they have ideas too.
Yeah, totally agree.
But get out of the way of these two mega, giants, Trump and Biden, in one of the most fascinating matchups. He picked the wrong year. He fucked up. He should have run in 2028 on a clean slate. I said it from day one. Now he's completely being, what do they call it? The Godzilla stomped or Bigfooted or whatever you want to call it politically and media-wise. Nobody gives a crap what's going on in this guy's snake handling world. He picked the wrong year to run. And, now the cat's out of the bag. Just go for the governorship, for Christ's sakes.
I got to share this one. I would not eat a cat. I would not eat a rat. I would not eat my best friend Sam. I'm not a cannibal, Bob. I am.
That's funny. That's funny. Holy crap.
Oh, God.
That is really funny.
But yeah, oh my God, what a mess. All right, well, let's shift. Speaking of messes, we had apparently a crash on the 4th of July.
Oh yeah, this is a crash goes with a couple of stories linked together. There's 1, 2, 3 stories I wanted to talk about. This is one of them. A guy wrote a book about sobriety, how to find an easier, faster way to sobriety other than 12-step programs, blah, blah, blah. Apparently his program, this has been repeated throughout addiction history. He got arrested in January. He finally must have relapsed back in January. It's led to this, killing all these people in a drunk driving incident. There's a guy who's a drug counselor, wrote this book, The Sober Addict. That's number one. Number two, which I've talked about, many times. If you try to do this your way, it doesn't really work. The other guy in the case was this incident that happened with the Machete Man. I don't know if you saw that one, the star of Machete.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're talking about Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. There's like 3 of these stories in a row. Holiday weekends are big for relapse and crazy crap. And I'm not saying Trejo's relapsed, but this does not look like sober behavior. If you similar to this guy's story here, I don't know if you could roll.
I can't play it because they'll get demonetized for it. They call it street violence. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me just say this. This is a parade here in Sunland. It's a little parade for July 4th, not a big parade. And Trejo was in a classic car. I don't know what it was, a white 50s car. It's one of the marshals of the parade.
Somebody said Machete's Benz.
That's funny.
That's funny. Good.
That's funny. So Trejo, who was in prison for many years, like 10 to 12 years in prison, and
with Nixon,
and with some other friends of mine who I know Trejo. So I mean, I'm not talking out of school here. I've talked to him about it before. Anyway, so he's gone public about his sobriety, and once you go public, shit happens, right? So the car gets hit with a water balloon. Okay. And he gets out of the car and starts getting into a fist fight with the people throwing the water balloon. He starts smashing chairs over the head. He gets his ass beaten. His sidekick, some other old gangbanger. They're both 80 years old. The other guy's got a shaved head. His face is bloodied. That's his sidekick, who's also his main wingman. He's bloody. He's a mess. And it doesn't really look like sober behavior. The point of the matter is, in this particular parade, one of the traditions of the parade is they throw water balloons at each other from both sides of the street.
Oh, God, fun. So it's part of it.
Thank you. That's the point I'm trying to make. Part of the parade, traditionally going back many, many years in Sunland, in Tahunga, which people know if they know this area, is to chuck water balloons back and forth. So his car gets hit with a water balloon. What does he do? He jumps out and gets his ass beaten by the group throwing the water balloon, because he starts throwing punches, and it's quite violent and quite vicious. But again, this is a guy who, claims that he's a spiritual cat who's sober a long time. That's number 2. Okay. Number 3 in this triad is our old friend Matthew Perry from Friends. And apparently this story has not gone away. There is now an ex-wife of Charlie Sheen who has been grilled 3 times by the FBI. And the FBI is, now there's a second suspect in the Matthew Perry murder that has, I don't know if you have a picture of Charlie Sheen's wife. This is Matthew Perry.
Something, I don't know.
I'll wait for you.
She's not in the article. Sorry.
I don't know what article you have, but if you could look up Charlie Sheen's wife.
Right. I remember her name, but no, I'm sharing what you sent me, and it didn't have a picture of her. X.
I like to see.
Not Denise Richards, right?
No.
This is the other. Brooke Mueller.
Brooke Mueller, who is very attractive, and Brooke Mueller, she's in her late 40s, but she looks fantastic. Brooke Mueller went to rehab. I don't know what you're doing here, but okay, that's cool. No, I don't see it. You're scrolling, but Brooke Mueller went to rehab with Matthew Perry. The FBI believes that Brooke Mueller was the source of the ketamine that killed Matthew Perry. And now there's a second female celebrity who is unnamed, who may be the source that Brooke Mueller has rolled over on to get the real source of the ketamine. None of this matters to me. The point I'm trying to make is celebrities seem to have the authorities go after whoever provided them the drugs in the afterlife, that regular people don't have this situation. In other words, Robert De Niro's nephew died, and they arrested the drug dealer. Philip Seymour Hoffman died, and they went after the drug dealer. John Belushi died. They went after Kathy Smith. This is what happens only with elite celebrities, by the way, who die. This doesn't happen when you're a regular guy who ODs on fentanyl. Only celebrities get this treatment because nobody can conceive in the normal world that such a great person would simply die. They have to have been murdered, and we have to go after the drug dealer. Now, either you go after the drug dealer for regular people or you don't. But these cases keep popping up where there's a celebrity who dies from drugs, and this is the point of the story, that they
obviously
go after.
Their life is more valuable than the rest
Exactly. That's my point. And now Brooke Mueller, who is a celebrity, might have gotten out of it herself by out-celebritying herself to roll on somebody else who may be a minor celebrity.
Moral, there's a moral in there.
Yeah. But we don't know the other person yet. The other person is going to be charged with murder of Matthew Perry, who lied about his sobriety, wrote a book, said he was sober, he wasn't, violated the sacred commandments, and died, which it's happened a bunch of times, like we did in the first story about the guy who wrote the sobriety book. Anyway, there was just a bunch of them in a couple of days, and I thought it might be of interest because they're kind of linked together thematically for me personally. So,
well, we had 4th of July, other things happened too. This one, I can't really show it, but did you see this? There's a shark attack in St. Padre Island, and there's videos of this woman who was injured, and
I don't want to get demonetized, so I'm not going to.
No, we're not going to. But let's just say that
talk about family.
Her calf was
okay. Hunley, please. I don't want to get demonetized, Hunley. Come on.
So, but it wasn't Bobby Kennedy. It was a shark.
No, forget about the sharks. Don't say the word shark attack. Jesus Christ, Hunley. What the hell are you doing over here?
All right. Well, speaking of absolute mania that's going around, because we haven't had time to talk about the bombshell decision on Monday.
Whoa.
The immunity judgment for Donald Trump.
Yeah, I think that this is just my opinion. I think they're going to ignore this.
Oh, the states will try. Yeah.
I think that the people involved in these prosecutions of Trump are simply going to ignore it and just say, do what you want to do and say what you want to say. We're just going to keep going. And somebody was saying, and it might have been Elias or it might have been Andrew Weissman, I think, who said that they moved the sentencing of Trump to September 18th, by the way, and they may lock him up not only for the election time, but into his inauguration time. In other words, if Trump gets sentenced September 18th now because of this ruling, not because of it, but they use that as a reason to bump the sentencing. If the judge now says, okay, he sentences him to 6 months, which he might have done anyway, that would cover him going through the inauguration as president of the United States. They also claimed, through Weissman, that they were going to pursue him even if he wins the election in that window of time when he's not president yet. So November 5th to January 25th, Weissman said they're going to pursue him on all these cases. Now, that being said, no one knows the status of Jack Smith because apparently he's just a regular citizen who was appointed as special prosecutor. If you get into Watergate and you look at Archibald Cox, who's appointed after Jaworski, these had congressional approval. These had approval by the Congress. I don't know how Jack Smith gets this job.
AG picked him.
Right, but that's not really legal according to various sources. So there may be, which is why
was Mueller congressionally accepted or not?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yes, but Cannon and the Trump lawyers have asked for a delay down in Florida to go over the evidence based on this immunity, obviously, but also the legality of Jack Smith. So that may be pushed back.
Well, Mershon as well. He pushed that out to much later.
No, that's the one I was just addressing. Yeah. That's the first one. The first one I addressed was September 18th.
Right.
That sentencing is now September 18th.
But if you read what he wrote too, though, even the way he wrote it, he kind of was like saying, even if there is a sentencing, like admitting that the thing may have blown up in his face. If you read this statement.
You have to be prepared to be taken out of that courtroom on September 18th in handcuffs.
Yeah, but you know it's going to get even more pressure because then he will officially be the nominee. Getting him before the convention is one thing, but now it is actually the nominee, not the guy that hasn't been to the convention. So I don't know.
I don't know.
With all this going down with Biden, I don't know. I think that they're really
I think they delayed it for their own reasons. I think they delayed it for their own reasons.
It could be. I mean, it's a good way to change the subject.
No. I think they delayed it so they could figure out their game. They just needed to buy some time for themselves to realize what is the best thing to do with Trump. I think they kicked the ball down the road themselves to give themselves more time to deal with just that Trump New York thing.
Well, I mean, Trump's legal team asked for the delay, and
right.
They didn't. They could have
said no. They could have said no. They could have said no. They could have said no. They could have said November 29th. They could have said January. They could have said no, but they picked September 18th. I think October 18th is the sentencing of Hunter Biden for the gun charge separately. His other trial is going to begin now, and they're going to begin to squeeze Hunter Biden, and they're going to start talking about pardons, whether he's going to be able to get it or not, blah, blah, blah. So that pressure is going to mount on Joe Biden because Hunter's trial is going to start in California. The second one.
Now, is that also federal?
Yeah. Okay. IRS. That's IRS.
He could be preemptively pardoned, right?
I don't know about that. Is that possible?
I'm asking. I mean, I'm just.
How are you pardoned? For crimes you haven't committed yet?
Well, if he's being charged, can you say, you know what? I'll just pardon him. I don't know.
I've never heard of that. Law. I don't really know. I've never heard of that.
That's why I was asking if you could preemptively pardon.
I don't know.
Well, actually, you can, because Nixon was pardoned, and technically there was never an impeachment. He was just pardoned.
Okay.
So I guess that's preemptive pardon. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess so, because there never was any charges against Nixon.
So yeah, I just realized that.
Yeah, I guess that's a pardon with no crime.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What else you got?
All right. I want to go through some super chats. You can see piling up and
Willie Nelson weekend, my friends.
Yeah. He apparently had a standing ovation at his first appearance after a health scare. So good news.
Go Willie.
All right. Dick Dickerson watched my interview with Tom O'Neill and liked it. Thank you very much. So a lot of people like that one. SH, happy Friday and happy birthday to America. Yep, I'm kind of. This is a weird holiday because it falls on a Thursday, and it's like, well, I guess it's a holiday weekend.
Yeah,
I wonder if a lot of people, got Friday off or not. Hopefully,
a lot of people did. Some people don't. I mean,
all right, Jonathan G94. Mark, please unblock me on X.
Okay, what were your crimes?
1022.
What were your crimes? I'm just going to ask you straight up. What stupid thing did you say? And you can't say I didn't do anything because that's going to keep you blocked. What did you say that forced me to block you, Jonathan? And then we will weigh the decision.
Jim tells you is a member for 6 months. Thank you. Happy 4th, Eric and Mark. Really, really live, you guys.
Thanks, Jim.
Pyro Disco Flash. Mark, I have a guaranteed TV series hit.
Good luck. Good luck with that, bro. I back you 100%. Good luck with that.
Nemesis 509 is a member. Thank you. Diffuse 56. People have been underestimating Trump since 2015.
Maybe earlier.
That's true.
Maybe earlier. Maybe it goes beyond 2015. His own father underestimated his success in Manhattan and begged him never to leave Brooklyn.
Oh,
in terms of contracting.
Somebody just told a great anecdote story about Trump. I think it was actually Piers Morgan who was talking about it. And he was trying to build the Trump Tower, and he had to get the airspace rights, which Tiffany owned.
Oh, yeah, I remember the story.
So he told his architect,
I know.
Please create 2 designs.
Yeah.
I want the most beautiful building you're ever going to build, and I want the ugliest building you could ever make. And he told Tiffany, if you sell me the air rights, I'll make this beautiful building. If you don't, I will make this building.
Well, the whole air rights thing became, that didn't actually exist until a certain period of time. Air rights themselves have an evolution as a concept and monetary connections to them. Air rights.
Yeah, or clearance, I guess. It's a weird one. Yeah.
Right. Because when you have bigger buildings on top of other buildings, it becomes a real estate issue.
Yeah, you see, I'm used to more level,
Yeah.
Let me see. Trump should demand Tucker and Rogan moderate the next 3-hour debate.
Yeah, and say, come on this show. I went on yours, you gutless piece of shit. And or go on Fox or go on Newsmax. I mean, one or the other, and say, I did you. Now you come over here. I mean, it's ironic that both Dana Bash and what's his name were so
good.
Good, yeah, it was shocking, absolutely shocking how accurate they were.
They were. I feel like that was all part of it. It's like,
yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Don't pull punches.
They were sandbagging. They were sandbagging Biden. They were sandbagging Biden. They laid off Trump that whole debate. There was no back talk. There was no, you said this in 2010. There was none of the snarkiness from earlier debates, Eric. It was just gone. It was just gone. And they took a lot of heat for it. But look, they didn't come up with this on their own, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. This was approved at the highest levels of the CNN industry. You know what I mean? And their approvals. By the way, Abigail Disney, who is never worked a day in her life, is the heir to the Disney fortune, came out today saying no money for the Democratic Party until Biden resigns the presidency. And now, what's his name? Used to be the head, Jeffrey Katzenberg, apparently is getting all kinds of incoming because he is the co-chair of the California Biden campaign, and he vouched for Biden to all these millionaires in California who donated to Biden, who now want their money back. And Katzenberg is now completely under fire for vouching for the mental cognitive situation of Joe Biden.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
Wow. I mean, it is a conspiracy of silence. It is a conspiracy. And I think when we do the Edith Wilson episode, we will compare and show you the similarities to her and Jill Biden. Edith Wilson, famously the second wife of Woodrow Wilson, and she was a descendant, ironically, of Pocahontas, which nobody realizes. But nevertheless, she was half Native American and half whatever she was, half Mayflower. And she ran the presidency after a stroke. And it's not unlike Jill Biden. But maybe we'll do the episode on Edith Wilson at some point.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, I think it's a definitely given. Army Brat said Trump needs to keep stirring the pot. Oh, he is. He is. Look at this. 56 pews coming back hot. 10 more memberships.
It's just, they have a thing where they have a stare-off in baseball during the national anthem. And for fun, it started a number of years ago, where a couple of players stand there on the first base and third base lines for the national anthem and refuse to get off the field, and it becomes this standoff and until one of the other buckles. This seems very similar. This time it's personal. Now it's personal.
It appears so.
Yeah.
All right. Doc 5758. I thought Kamala and Gavin couldn't be on the same ticket since they're both representing California. That's what carpetbagging is for. You buy property somewhere else and say, I moved.
It happened with Cheney and Bush. It's not an issue. You get a post office box in the next state. It's easily resolved. Cheney had a house in Colorado. He just changed his address.
Yeah, hell, Kamala might even have a property in D.C. Can just say I live in D.C.
Of course. It's not even an issue.
Scott Binbo, heading Airbnb in Utah. Wish me luck. Is the rumor true? LBJ had his family Bible in Dallas on that fateful day. I don't know.
He actually used Kennedy's Catholic Bible to be sworn in, and there was some controversy about that. It was Kennedy's Bible aboard the plane, Air Force One. So I don't know about that family Bible thing.
Okay. Jenny's getting inky with. Oh, sorry. I said Mark is right on the pronouns. They want to do away with gender altogether. It's part of the equality pan.
I was kidding.
It's equity, not equality.
I was half kidding, but not really fully half. I think they do want to get away with that, away from that completely. I'm just projecting out in their crazy crap. There's also these women or daughters of women who, another one came out today who outed her mother as a January 6er in the Marxist tradition. She felt her mother was a racist and a J6er, and she, which they did during Mao and they did during Stalin, where the nuclear family is not sacred to them, and they turn on their own first.
Yep. And guess who has a good example of that?
Who?
Scientology.
Oh yeah, it's another good model for them. Yeah, absolutely.
The Sea Org, those are the ones who, to be fair, they don't commit forever, only 1 billion years.
1 billion years, my friend.
1 billion years, and they give their children away. The children are raised by
if you see that
environment.
Right. If you see that series I recommended, I think it's 3 or 4 parts on HBO or Max about Synanon. Synanon is a spin-off crazy cult off of Narcotics Anonymous, which it's directed by Rory Kennedy, actually RFK Jr.'s sister. And it's pretty damn good. But they give the kids away in Synanon. And the kids, that's the most fascinating part of the story is what happens with the kids. But they did the same thing there.
Sad. 526 Pew's back again. 10 more memberships.
Everyone's getting, it's like Oprah Winfrey. Everyone's getting a car.
I don't know.
Everyone's going to have a membership.
3,800 people watching before too.
They're all getting a membership by the end of the show.
Wow. I mean, that's unbelievable. This is the biggest day for memberships in the history of the show.
Is that true?
Easily.
Okay.
Easily. Wow. Okay, Doc 5758. Wasn't the Supreme Court step in if that happens, claiming election interference? Or won't they step in? I don't know.
Again, this step in thing, like they're the police or referees in the NBA finals, that's not what they do. They take months and months and months to do it, unless it's something with like the Watergate tapes where they took the thing and said Nixon, they voted 9-0 that he had to turn over the tapes. But that was a hot and heavy period of time where things were going back and forth. I mean, they have stepped in, but it usually takes months and months and months for them to rule on anything.
All right. Dickerson's not laying down.
Go get him. Dickerson. You know what? He's the OG. I'm rooting for Dickerson over Pew because Dickerson was here from the beginning when he was all alone, naked in the woods, and he was doing this by himself. Now he's got competition, so he's got to step up. But he's the OG on this thing, so I'm sticking with Dickerson. Took a lot of abuse when he first came on the scene.
Yes, he did.
Angie Dickerson's illegal son, and then Nancy Dickerson, and we really abused him savagely. And now he's fought back, and he carved out his own niche as a multi-YouTube membership owner.
Yeah. Well, he's like he's a rainmaker with memberships.
That's his world. That's his world.
I mean, it's amazing. Lady Freddie says Reza Aslan ate human brain on CNN documentary in 2017.
Okay, all right, that's something.
Reza Aslan,
right? That's something. I don't begrudge him. He ate human brain. You know, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, like if you look at the Cannibal movie, if you look at Cannibal Holocaust, which was the original Blair Witch, which I highly recommend this weekend. Cannibal Holocaust was done by an Italian director, recently passed away, I think, maybe in COVID. Or 2 years ago, the director of Cannibal Holocaust, but fantastic faux documentary in the Blair Witch tradition. This is where they stole it from, Blair Witch. So I highly recommend watching Cannibal Holocaust. It's not what it seems. It's a group of filmmakers who are anthropologists who go to South America to study the tribes, and then shit happens.
So it's found footage.
Yeah, it's a found footage thing. Yeah, but it's really the OG. This is where it started from with Cannibal Holocaust.
You know what's crazy though? There's a real found footage guy. I think it was a guy who went out for the bears and disappeared, and then they found his footage later.
Oh, so you're talking about Grizzly. You're talking about the
I think so. I think that
was audio. That was audio. Yeah, and there's the audio of him being eaten by the bears at the end. That's a Werner Herzog film. Timothy, what's his face, out here in Malibu. He used to go up to Alaska in the summer with the bears, and he brought his former girlfriend with him one summer, and he had already turned gay, I think. She didn't want to go. She went with him, and she was eaten by the bears. But he would film himself in front of the bears and bring it back to the Malibu school system and show it to like third graders of him with the bears, and he had names for them. And it was really this anthropomorphization of bears by him in a sick Disney kind of way. And then, of course, they ate him. But the tape recorder was running. And at the end of the movie, Herzog plays the tape of him being eaten by the bears. It's called Grizzly, the movie.
Sounds Grizzly.
It is. It is a fascinating movie. The ending is not for everyone, though.
No. All right.
There's a good double bill with Cannibal Holocaust for the weekend, by the way. A good RFK Jr. double bill. Grizzly and Cannibal Holocaust.
All right. We got more school district employees.
Boy, this never ends. There was one across from England I saw yesterday.
That's the one I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
I don't have the article, but that one is especially disturbing because she was arrested for being with one student, and when she was out on bail or whatever, she got with another student, got pregnant. So now this 15-year-old boy is a father,
right,
and is stuck with his violator for the rest of his life because there's a child tying them together. It's just horrible.
The women doing this have stunted emotional growth. They're with 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds or 17-year-olds because that's their emotional age. You hear a lot about this in addiction recovery. What your emotional age is usually when you started using substances addictively. These women are emotionally the age of their victims. So they may be 28, they may be married, they may be having a job as a teacher, but emotionally, they are the age range of their victim themselves.
Wow. Okay. Back to the war. 556 Pew Pew came back with 10 more memberships. And Dick Dickerson.
It's a stare off at this point. I mean, it's.
And now Pew Pew gave up. I saw a comment.
Pew Pew's done. He's done. I mean, come on, he can't keep this up. No man can. No man. You can't expect this to keep going. It's ridiculous. How can anybody keep this up?
Yeah, well, here and 556 Pew Pew said, Dick Dickerson, damn dude, I'll see myself out.
Wow, that's it. It's over, folks. It's over. It's all over. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Down goes Pew Pew. Both of you, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm serious. Thank you very much. Wow.
Thank you. Because the subscription model doesn't work. You know, I'm going to ring the bell right here to get everybody to subscribe. As you could see, we've been at 113,000 for about 6 years. And just by odds, somebody should fall over on the button and make it 114,000 at this point, because we can't survive on the kindness of strangers, to quote Streetcar Named Desire. We need people to actually physically subscribe. I know it's painful. I know you can't do it. I know you don't want to be on the January 6th list. But you got to step up. You got to fight back. You know, I was talking about the Supreme Court in Wisconsin today reversed the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, ordering there be mailboxes put all around Wisconsin for mail-in ballots, reversing the Supreme Court of Wisconsin, who ruled that this was unconstitutional. So the people in Wisconsin responded to me and said, they voted in a new liberal judge who replaced a conservative judge, and it was a 5-4 decision. And they got that guy in. They put in a lot of money. Then they did this, and they did this. They got the boxes. And I said, you know what? You may have to just destroy the fucking boxes. I know this sounds insane. There's a lot of fat-ass Packer fans up there. What I do is I use crazy glue, and I just glue the lid shut. You could do that if you don't want to take out the box with a sledgehammer, but you can't let the boxes exist. I'm sorry. You got to destroy the boxes. I know it sounds like civil disobedience. I know it sounds like a bridge too far, but you got to do something, you fat fucks up there, because they're screwing you. They did this because today, in real clear politics, for the first time, Trump in Wisconsin went up 2 points this week. He's 2 points ahead of Biden. The Supreme Court got a phone call from somebody who said, put the boxes back. That's tit for tat. Now you got to do something.
That reminds me of a story I heard a long time ago. This guy is like a professional con artist, scam artist, or whatever. And the banks hired him because he was a master at just robbing ATMs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot. Yeah.
Well, this guy is back in the 70s when they were developing them. And they brought this guy up and they say, okay, here's our design. Here's the ATM. Do your worst.
Do your worst.
And so he went ahead, and the early days of the ATMs, I don't know if you remember this, they had that kind of little door on them, like a plastic door that would open.
Oh, yeah.
So the money would fill that, and then you pop it open to get your money.
Mm-hmm.
So he hit that with super glue and glued the door.
Yeah.
And then people were like, oh, it's not opening, or whatever. And he just let it go all day, hit it with a hammer, and then just took the money.
Right. No, I'm saying that super glue can do a lot of good. There was a kid I had in rehab, an Armenian gang member, who showed me how to put a skimmer on top of an ATM machine. Then he put the camera right above the skimmer in the stupid plastic false ceiling they have. He put the camera straight down, and he saw your PIN code. And then he'd come back and pick up the skimmer, and he'd have your PIN code. And that was his job as a gang member, was to do that. And he showed me the how to physically do this whole operation. And he was now in rehab because he was a meth addict, but that's a separate issue. But there's ways to do this that are quite ingenious, Eric.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder, what if you just put that effort into a job?
Right. Or how about fighting back to save your country from having the election stolen, for Christ's sakes, which is why I'm saying this. Don't sit. One guy said, yeah, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go with video cameras around the boxes and film people. Really? You like 10,000 mules? That's really effective to help us this election. They already made the movie. It's not going to do you any good to videotape somebody stuffing in 10,000 freaking ballots into a box. Get rid of the box.
Somebody sent me this story. I thought you might find it interesting. It's your neck of the woods, the Salton Sea.
Ooh, it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Scientists found $540 billion worth of lithium, also known as white gold, at the bottom of the Salton Sea.
There's a lot of stuff down there, bro. A lot of bodies down there.
That's some serious lithium. It is more lithium than anywhere on the planet. It would make us the #1 supplier of lithium ahead of China.
Mm-hmm. And it will help the bipolar chicks of LA, because if they can get that lithium to the bipolar chicks of LA, we'd have a much better city.
Okay. I was thinking of batteries, but hey.
Oh no, I was talking about treatment for bipolar girls.
I get it. I get it.
I didn't know you were talking about car batteries, but you're right. The car battery thing would really help car batteries.
I mean, all right. Oh, this is what you said, Willie Nelson Day, but that's what I was telling you about.
Right on. I was just thinking about Willie today because of his picnics that were always on. I think his birthday is July 4th. So the picnics were part birthday, part American celebration. So I'm wearing my Willie hat. And then Kinky played a lot with Willie. So the passing of Kinky the same week. So there's a lot of stuff like Texas country music stuff going on.
Well, this just came in right when we were starting the show.
Don't tell me somebody else died who I know.
No. Okay. This is a cargo plane, FedEx, that had to do a stomach landing when its landing gear broke.
Oh, yeah. You got to keep that. You got to keep that up. Oh, the last airlines my father worked for was FedEx as a jet engine mechanic. He got his pension through FedEx at the end, so he didn't work on that one.
We know a FedEx pilot.
Yeah, we do know one. And I'll tell you something else. Sometimes people are up in those wheel wells, my dad told me, especially with flights coming out of the Caribbean. They would run out at the last minute. Dominican, Cuba, not so much Cuba, Dominican Republic, and some of the other Caribbean flights, they'd get up in the wheel well, and the flight altitude was usually not super high because it was a shorter flight, and they wouldn't die from oxygen deprivation, and they would get out when the plane landed and run into the marsh of Jamaica Bay at Kennedy Airport in Queens. But sometimes they froze to death, and him and his crew would have to pry these dead, frozen Latino bodies out of the wheel well because they were hunkered up in there trying to get into the United States illegally. This was in the 70s. So, and on occasion, my dad told me the landing gear would come down and the bodies would fall out onto the runway.
That's so sad.
I know. Well, I just thought of that because of the wheel well and the front wheel there, because my dad had to deal with those things.
Wow. All right. Fletcher Boy says, Mark, you effed up. You trusted us.
Who is us?
I don't know. And I don't know
who is us? This vague us. I mean, I don't trust you, right? I don't barely trust Hunley, for Christ's sakes. Who's us?
No, I don't trust me either. And especially don't trust you. Let's see. Tim Rosenthal, question. Mark, what's your opinion on the book Ask Not, the Kennedys and the Women They Destroyed by Maureen Callahan?
I assume there's nothing new in the book. How about that? I haven't read the book. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she was on with Megyn Kelly last week or something.
I mean, this is, again, I presume there's nothing new in the book. It sounds salacious, that's all. Sounds like something that somebody from the Daily Mail would write.
All right, exciting.
He banged a lot of chicks. That's the book. End of story. Banged a lot of chicks.
Exciting said, New Year's Eve, 1973, Kinky Friedman, Willie Nelson, and Leon Russell, Dallas, Texas, at the Market Hall, Stemmons Freeway. Leon rocks.
Yeah, I saw that ticket. I guess he posted that today on Twitter. That's an incredible ticket stub or poster, whatever that was. But what an incredible combination of pop culture thing. You got the Stemmons Freeway, you got the Trade Mart, you got Leon. One of the first concerts I ever saw was Leon. Willie and Kinky. Holy crap.
All right. Nick Giusti? I don't know how to say it. So much to say, so few characters. Came here for JFK videos, subscribed on my first video. Been watching all your content and love it. Mark, can I please get a come on, Bobby?
Oh, come on, Bobby. Come on, boy. How about that?
All right, you guys rock.
I keep using it for RFK Jr. now when I
yeah, there you go. Why not?
It fits for RFK Jr. It was good enough for his dad. It's good enough for his son.
I wonder if Joe Biden could say, come on, Bobby.
Look, there's a lot of similarities between him and LBJ.
Yes.
Him and LBJ. Again, he's running indirectly against the son of the guy who ran against LBJ. I mean, there's a lot of overlap here. And I don't know if Bobby Sr. ever ate a dog or a goat or a monkey, but there's still a lot of similarities between the father and son's campaign. But like I said, the father was attorney general. The father was a New York State senator. The father paid his dues, and his uncle, who he refers to, was also a senator from Massachusetts and paid his dues. This guy doesn't want to pay any dues. He just wants to be president, for Christ's sakes, and bang broads and eat goats and catch snakes. It's a great life. It's a great life. Lives in Malibu. I want to be president. I've got ideas. Here's my ideas. Make me president.
Not a bad deal. I mean,
not a bad deal.
He's got plenty of money. He's having a good time.
You know what's amazing about the Democrats? They had every opportunity to have legitimate primaries, and they never do. The Republicans have these battles to the death where these people won't go away, even if they lose the freaking primary. These guys box people out underneath the boards, and they don't let anybody in. And then now look what's happened to them. It's like one of the greatest political jams in the history of politics that they put themselves in. All self-made. All designed by these corrupt scallywags. It's just a pleasure to watch. It really is.
I'm enjoying being part of living history now. Didn't like it so much in 2020, 2021, 2022. This part I'm enjoying. This part of watching history firsthand. You know, this is the stuff people are going to be telling their grandkids.
Well, I was watching last night. I was watching another documentary on Watergate. And, you know, by January 25th, he ends the war in Vietnam and he ends the draft, Nixon. And for me, 1973 is what I was going to say. And I was still in high school and I had a draft number and I was going to go in the draft and I didn't have to go because of Richard Nixon. And he ends the draft and ends the war, more importantly, while I was in my senior year in high school. And then when he got impeached, a lot of my friends, and not that I was supporting Nixon at all, I wasn't, but a lot of my friends spiraled into a malaise where we said, what's the point of going to college? The presidency has ended. The country is so out of control. It's not even close to what you're looking at today. When he resigned and left the office and Ford came in and all this stuff happened, there was a malaise of like a power vacuum, Eric, in the country. And for me, graduating from high school, and all my friends said, we were like depressed. Like, what's the point? The institution being crushed of the presidency led to us not being interested in pursuing our own futures, if that makes any sense to anyone.
Yeah. I mean, it was weird. I kind of started with Kennedy, I feel like it was just
right, but that was too young. That was too young for me, But I'm saying when Nixon, again, I didn't vote for him or support him, but I'm just saying the destruction of that institution temporarily or whatever it was happened like right on my watch when I was going to go to college. And a lot of my friends and I really just said, fuck it, and just said, what's the point? They don't even let this guy be president. And the country was just in a really weird place.
Agreed. I mean, it was dark times.
Yeah.
But, all right. Jonathan G94, you posted a Gateway Pundit article, and I replied with an old Biden clip. If Israel didn't, we'd have to invent it to ensure U.S. interests in the Middle East. I guess this is the one you blocked. They're stating what it was.
Oh, it's the same guy.
Yeah. Well,
tell me. Okay. Yeah. I don't know it's a little out of context there, bro. I can't really understand what you're saying.
But you said, tell me what you did. Tell me what you said. And
I'd have to look at the clip. Yeah. Send me the clip of what you said. And obviously, I guess you're against the state of Israel is why you posted the clip. So was it a thing about AIPAC or something?
No, I think I could interpret that as he's supporting it. If Israel didn't, we'd have to invent it.
It could be right. Sure. I don't know. You have to send me the clip. So
go to America's Untold Stories. .com/contact and then
send it to
mail it so we'll get it.
We'll get it before the Committee of Justice.
I'll just pass it on and say up to you, dude.
7 old Jews who sit in a cabal, known as the Elders of the Protocol of Zion, will determine your fate.
There we go. VentureCast, did you see where Biden met with the governors and told them he needed more sleep and couldn't be available after 8 p.m.? Yes, I saw that. I'm like, that's helpful.
That's another limited hangout by his handlers. Today, they're making him jog. I don't know if you noticed this. You were busy with something else. They put out their new this was a limited hangout of him saying he's going to do this, trying to assuage the fears of the people. It's not going to work. Okay, but this was one limited hangout. The second limited hangout is he's now jogging for a millisecond to go to vehicles now. He will be walking his zombie walk and then break into a miniature jogging.
Shuffle?
A shuffle jog. It's a shuffle jog to show that he's alive and then back to the zombie walk immediately.
Oh my God.
There's video of it. It's a new thing. And he's been ordered to do this by his handlers.
And when do we get the first fall?
It's going to be difficult because he's going to fall from that. Yeah, now, Ron Klain, as I said on Twitter, Ron Klain, who is his main chief of staff, he's not the main chief of staff, but his chief advisor. Yeah. No, he's still up there, Ron Klain. It's Zentz is the chief of staff who works for Obama. Who reports only to Obama. But Ron Klain or Zentz, either one of them, has to be called before Congress to explain the cognitive situation of the President of the United States. They will immediately invoke executive privilege, which is correct. They should then immediately be sent to subpoena by Jim Jordan. They will then immediately refuse the subpoena, and then they should be immediately arrested and incarcerated like Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
How does that sound to you, Eric?
Yeah. Who's going to do it? That's the sad part.
It's got to be Jim Jordan.
Or but he doesn't have the teeth to do it because the Justice Department is actually.
I don't know who's got the teeth. I'm just saying, in a perfect world,
sure,
it could be Haley in the Senate or Cruz in the Senate and Jordan in the House. I don't care who does it. It's just got to be done. It makes its own sauce. It's super simple. It's clean as a whistle, and just get it done, you pieces of shit. What is so difficult? What the fuck do these guys do all day up there?
They call Zuckerberg. All right. Alana Sorry, Alana.
Sure.
Ronald,
a little late to the party, Alana, but who are these guys? I mean, these are pikers compared to the big giants.
Hey, we appreciate all. We appreciate this. You know what? We appreciate the subscribe. And guess what? This is free.
Oh, yeah.
Go click and subscribe.
I'm getting the bell of justice. I'm getting the bell of justice because I can't take it anymore with these people. That needle has got to move because I don't have any motivation to do the show anymore. Okay, there you go.
All right. Ginny is getting inky with it. Speaking of Willie, have you heard the Johnny Cash version of Hurt? Great cover. Yes, it's one of my favorite songs of all time, actually. There's a story behind that I really appreciate. Trent Reznor wrote the song Hurt, and it's a good song, really great song. And Rick Rubin approached Reznor and said, we want to cover this with Johnny Cash. And Trent's like, okay. And Johnny Cash did cover it, and Trent Reznor heard it, and he was like, okay, that's interesting. But then they did the video. And if you ever get a chance to watch the video, that is a powerful video and such an interesting take on a song, which is, I think, a song about addiction, and really initially. And Johnny Cash flipped it to a song of life, of regrets, of what he didn't get to in life, and it's impactful. And when Trent Reznor saw that, he said, "It's no longer my song."
That happens with covers sometimes, right?
Yeah, I did. It's powerful.
It didn't happen with Johnny Rotten doing My Way, replacing the Sinatra My Way, but just to show you when it doesn't work, that didn't work, but sometimes it works.
Yeah, I like Johnny Rotten, or John Lydon, or Linden.
Lives in Venice, and he's battling the homeless with baseball bats that are on his lawn defecating.
And he is MAGA the whole way.
He's right on MAGA.
Full on MAGA. Excidia said Timothy by the Buoys playing at RFK rally.
I don't know who the Buoys are, so I can't really respond.
It must be a late 60s band.
I never even heard of them.
You saw it.
Me? I've never heard of them.
All right. Innisfad, Mark, have you ever heard of Corey Hughes? Can you debunk his stupid Israel JFK info?
I don't get into Holocaust denial videos or that situation because it just legitimizes them. It is what it is. We have a situation here in Melrose where this woman owner of the cafe, the Moro Cafe, refused to sell a coffee to a man who was wearing a yarmulke yesterday. And in one of the most moving things I've ever seen, the guy left the cafe, couldn't buy a coffee because he was Jewish. And a kid who was an employee came out and gave him the coffee. And I almost started crying. It was so heavy what happened with this guy who simply went in to buy a cup of coffee to go. And she called him a Zionist and a Jew and said, "We don't serve you here." This is in LA in 2024, people. This is not 1933 Berlin in a heavily Jewish neighborhood. It's really shocking. Really totally shocking.
I was touched, though, that the employee paid. He didn't just give it to him. He bought it for him.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's class. So watch, he'll be fired the next day.
I'm sure. I'm sure he was fired. Yeah.
But really, that's sad. Jenny's going to ink you with it. The vid with that song is super powerful. Cry every time I watch it. Love seeing people react to it. My all-time.
Which song? The Hurt song?
Hurt. Johnny Cash. The video is just, it is so powerful. All right. So
what other stories do you have?
Well, I'm out of stories here.
What kind of an operation you got over there?
Well, you know what it is?
What is it?
Hold on.
You got X amount of stories?
No, I need to get some more coffee.
Go ahead.
So I can research stories, and all of you can get some coffee. Right. And get stories as well, to get on the day with our own America's Untold Stories Supreme Breakfast Blend, which is flying off the shelves. I think it is their top-selling coffee they have available. I believe so.
More than the Frank Sinatra?
I don't think he has Frank Sinatra yet. But ours is half of Frank Sinatra.
Interesting.
The older half. And it is fantastic coffee. But you know what?
What about Johnny Rottenbean? Does he have Johnny Rottenbean?
Don't know. He's listening. Perhaps he'll get to it. We also have officially now the coin.
Oh my God! Look at that!
And you have one on your way. And
look at that!
It to you.
Whoa!
Let me see if I can get in focus. America's Untold Stories, and then you can't make this up. It is officially for sale. There we go.
What?
And there is a link in the description. It is americasuntoldstories.com/coin. You get this. There's a theme here. It's americasuntoldstories.com/copy/coin.
Okay.
Both are available. This is a larger depiction, so you can see what the coin looks like, clear. It's hard when I hold it up. I think there's about 35 of them left. They're moving fast.
Oh my God. What are they, from the Franklin Mint in Pennsylvania?
Nope. They're from a vendor out of Florida who is a veteran as well. So both the coffee brewer and the guy helping us do the coins, both veterans, both veteran-owned businesses, which I really, really appreciate very much. And I just want to let everybody know there's a link in the description if you want that. You want the coffee. Hope you guys consider it.
Hunley sent me a prototype look at the Watergate cards that look. Oh yeah, that's like a prototype, but man, these are going to look different and more 70s-ish, I guess, Eric, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted a comic book feel to it, from the 70s and that time period.
Wow.
And that's Nixon, and got to have G. Gordon Liddy.
Wow, that looks great.
And not I'm tightening them down, but I think they're I like this. I like the feel and the flow of these, having the collectible cards. I think these will come out very well, but it's taking some work to get the design, like multiple programs, multiple flows, and say, don't do this, do this, don't do this form, no, don't do that. And
who says that? The AI things?
I have to run it through different AI programs and then models and then other pictures. So it's like I take a picture of the person,
right,
and then I take a picture like in the cartoon or comic paint style of it, and I actually found a Marvel 1972 Nixon depiction, so it's absolutely in that style. And then I run those together, and then I ran another style against the first style. So it's
take a look at Lampoon, because we used to copy for certain pieces that we did the styles of Marvel and DC, depending on what it was.
Right.
I think there was Zimmerman comics where Dylan was a superhero, a Superman, it was Zimmerman, which we mocked or copied the style of DC for that. And then for other pieces, we would copy other styles, but you may want to take a look at some of those too.
Yeah,
or the comic books themselves. I mean, you could look at the...
Right. Well, that's what I grabbed from the comics.
Yeah, because we're copying them.
So anyway,
that's interesting. Okay.
So it's underway. I mean,
how's Oswald doing? Is he not the puppet and the part 3?
I don't like to give dates because then I get burned. But the part 4 is underway, and hopefully somebody noticed. Yes, I did lose the tip of my left middle finger a long time ago.
Oh my God, that's creepy, honey. From a lawnmower?
No, actually, it was an animal slaughtering thing.
Ritual, like some sick, twisted goat killing?
No, it wasn't.
What the hell happened, hon?
It's not your childhood; it's my childhood. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, they have that gate where they, like kind of in a slaughterhouse thing at the university.
Slaughterhouse 5, you went to, not 4.
Just a straight slaughterhouse 1 or whatever at U of A. And they had have a gate with some counterweights going against it, and a steel cable that goes up for the pulley to go, up and down with the gate. Well, as a 10-year-old, me and another friend thought it would be fun to go on a seesaw. So he was on the counterweights and I was on the gate.
Stop it.
We're going up and down. I started to fall. I grabbed the cable. It went up into the pulley and touched off the tip.
Oh,
and
my
I fell
God.
anyway.
Hunley, that's terrible. Where'd the finger go? Where's the tip of the finger?
Oh, they found it and they put it in somebody's Pepsi cup. with their ice, and they couldn't do anything because it's pulverized.
You know what? I'll tell you something. My mother, rest her soul, asked the three of us to mow the lawn, and all three of us said, "Go F yourself. We were busy." So she, in her fat Jewish dress, went out to mow the lawn of our house, and all of a sudden we heard a woman screaming, and she yelled that she had tried to clean out the lawnmower while the blade was going, the mulch from the exterior part of the lawnmower, and we heard a woman screaming, and she said, "I cut my finger off." You can't make this up. So one of the neighbors grabs her, and they grab the mulch of the grass, assuming that the finger was in the mulch, took the mulch, took my mother to the hospital, and the three of us felt like really guilty because one of us should have mowed the lawn out of three of us, and all three of us got out of it. And she never mowed the lawn in her life, had done this to herself in a protest against us not mowing the lawn. So they took her to the hospital.
She showed you.
She showed us. So it was the same finger that you just showed, by the way. And they grabbed the mulch and they followed her with the mulch to the hospital. And a orderly came out. This guy, Bernie, I forget his last name. He was our neighbor who took my mother to the hospital. This orderly came out with a clipboard and said, "Hold on, we're going to need a lot of information here." And he didn't get the word "here" out of his mouth before Bernie knocked him out, and he went down like a pile of cloth. And the neighbor knocked him unconscious and rushed my mother into the emergency room. And it turns out that her finger was not completely severed. We were going through the mulch, me and my brothers, looking for the finger. It was just almost severed, so they sewed it back on. It's the point of the story. And it was always like bent at the very end like this, which she would show us when we refused to do some chores. She would show us the bent portion of her finger that they sewed back on. So it wasn't completely severed by the lawnmower. So there was kind of a happy ending, unlike your story, which is absolutely brutal. I don't even know how you survived.
It was fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, you know what? I had the benefit of it because in order to recover, part of what they wanted me to do is to tap on like furniture. And when you tap, it sounds like this. That's what this sounds like, because it's bone.
Oh, it's just bone on wood?
Yeah. And so I would sit there at the table and it would creep my sister out because I like
this.
See, there's a benefit here. So she's like, "Stop doing that." Now, it actually hurt, but it didn't really matter because I knew it creeped her out and it bugged her to death. So I would go tap, 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 tap. And she'd be like, "Make him stop." And I'm like, "I have to." And my parents were like, "You're being a little shit." But they knew I had him over the barrel. And
when you say barrel, you mean theoretically. It wasn't a barrel that was in a rodeo barrel or anything like that.
Correct.
Right. You did a lot of stuff. You did a lot of stuff with farm animals, from what I understand. When
there's an implication there. We're not even going to.
No. I don't mean like that. I mean you grew up around slaughterhouses and farm animals.
Yes, I grew up in a ranch.
On a ranch. I don't know. That's nothing wrong with that.
Anyway, let me see. Fletcher Boy said, "Liddy, pick on a T-shirt, please." I could do that.
Well, that's a good one. I just ordered the Kinky T-shirt, which I hopefully get today or tomorrow.
Okay, well, I'll try to remember. I think I can do that if you guys like that. Boo Boo Bing Bang. I'm just loving reading the National Lampoon archive again. Used to get it in Australia as a teenager. Thanks, boys. I think I put a link up to a full archive on local.
Oh, cool. Really? That's cool.
A while ago.
We also had Heavy Metal, of which I was associate publisher of Heavy Metal magazine. And we once tried to, not once, every month we sent it to Canada because like Australia, there was subscriptions in Canada. I don't know, whatever it was, 15 or 10,000 Canadians or what, I don't know how many Australians. But this time it got stopped at customs because the cartoons, the cartoons by the French author depicted in the science fiction thing some sort of science fiction futuristic bestiality in the animation drawings. I don't remember the exact. It wasn't pornography.
We can't go into details because of.
No, I don't even remember the details. But the point of the matter is, the magazines got sent back. So we found a school in New Jersey. I don't know how to say this, but they changed the name to, it used to be the School for the Word for Slow Children. And
something impaired. Gotcha.
Of children, which was their legal name at the time. And we gave a donation to the school, and we gave them 500 magic markers to black out the sections in the comic book style stuff of Heavy Metal magazine that depicted the scenes that were rejected by the Canadian Customs Police. And then the donation went to the school for the challenged children, and the magazines got through customs into Canada with the black box in one of the comics. I'm just telling you, sometimes you got to do stuff as a publisher or associate publisher.
I think it's so funny because the reason why they would probably claim that they blocked it was to protect the children.
Oh yeah, and when we got the children to protect themselves. But these were children in New Jersey, so it didn't count. We didn't even use kids in New York. We had to go find them in New Jersey at some school.
Because they're wilder in Jersey, right? You protect the New York kids. Those New Jersey kids up now, they're already messed up. They're on their own.
These were the messed up of the messed up. This was so, I can't use the word, but it was the actual name of the school, which they used to have here in Hollywood. There was another school with that name, and it begins with an R and ends with a D. Here in Hollywood, the children's blah, 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 but the times change and the words change, and now it's disabled or whatever it is.
All right. Well, we're still dancing on the edge, so we're going to take this party over and head to locals where we can freely say those 6-letter words that start with an R and end with a D.
I can't wait to get over there so I can free myself to say the name of the school.
Exactly.
And some other secret information that Hunley and I are working on.
And it is free to be a member. So all of you can just go over, and it's free, and you get to hear everything.
Everything's free in this operation, Hunley. What do they pay for?
Well, they can pay for a coin.
They pay for the coin. Okay, all right.
They pay for some coffee. But no, seriously, all those memberships tonight, I cannot reiterate enough. Thank you. Man, holy cow. That is insane, but it makes such a difference, especially, we're fighting every show just to stay on board.
Dude, we just got monetized on shows.
2022.
From 2022. Yep. They just happened to go back and manually review just random episodes. They just woke up one day and said, let's go back and manually review some old episodes. See what we can find, boys. And they put on their panties and they went into our library and started to manually review stuff.
Well, that's the stuff that's going yellow. This is the one that 2 years ago I protested, and they finally determined, oh, you know what? You're right. It's okay. Yeah. Thank you.
They're very busy. Later. They're not busy when they go to demonetize you. That happens pretty quickly.
Oh, no.
There's no review process of that. That's just a yellow flag.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? They don't do it at locals. It's our own community. We can actually talk. We can say those crazy, real words, and we'll see you there.